I like to think of Linkages to Learning as the program that tries to address all of the barriers to learning that are not academic. Linkages to Learning is trying to support the social, emotional, relational, physical well-being of the children and families who are going to those schools.
Yeah, and some of the sites have a clinic as well. Mm-hmm. So ours has a medical clinic.
We, as Linkages staff, we've had the privilege of being trained in trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, which is one of the main evidence-based interventions for child trauma. So we certainly have a lot of kids who have a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder, or they would otherwise benefit from that particular therapy. And so it's really cool that as a program, you don't have to go to a specialized center. You can get that therapy offered in school. So I think we definitely try to be the place that helps people feel safe, and then we go from there.
Mm-hmm. I have been meeting with a couple of kids who came here to reunite with mom, and they had been separated for 5 years while she gained the money to bring them here. And in their journey, they didn't have any relatives with them coming here. They were just kind of with other adults. And one of the features of that journey was not even having enough food. That's what I heard about. So I remember after one of my sessions, and we've done a fair amount of work with the kids, they plopped the Chromebook on the dining room table, and mom was serving bowls of soup, hefty soup. It had lots of stuff in it. And she was laughing, and they were laughing, and they pointed the camera at the soup. And in addition to it just being kind of a jolly moment, I think she was signaling, I've got my family. I'm feeding them. We're going to be okay. It was a really beautiful moment. Yeah. The resilience of these caring parents and these kids and these teachers and just everyone on the team is amazing. And we've watched this year this incredible pressure that's been placed on especially these families. They've got economic pressures, they've got health pressures, et cetera. And to see the resilience is just really inspiring. It shouldn't be this way. The forces that are tearing at the families and making life difficult shouldn't be this way, but they're just amazing. They really love their kids. Yeah. I'm Kate. She's Karen.
She's my mom.
She's my daughter.
Yeah, growing up, I knew she was a social worker. Like, mm-hmm. That was a fact that we knew. But as a result, I thought, I'll obviously do something different, right? Like, I will obviously not be a social worker, even though that's a nice thing to be. But I came around, and it's pretty cool to do this work, and it's especially cool to be able to have your mom be kind of a mentor and a support.
And I consider Karen a mentor. And in fact, it goes back even further. I went to graduate school with my mom. She was a social worker. Yeah, I went to a college that had a kind of an emphasis on looking at things through a lens of social injustices and justice, and I ended up doing a year of volunteer service after I graduated through the same organization with migrant laborer children. And that sort of opened my eyes to some of the pretty strong inequities, and wanted to continue in that line of work and do something. The old saying was, be part of the solution, not part of the problem, and that's kind of where I wanted to put my energies.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't plan to be a social worker. I probably envisioned myself working in the State Department. I was really interested growing up in foreign policy, and especially I was a teenager at the time that we were fighting wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and it seemed like this was not a way to heal or improve from the terrorist attacks that we suffered. It seemed like this is more of the same violence. And so I became really interested in that region in the Middle East, and I studied Arabic in college. And then after college, I had a chance to spend a year working in in a community center. Very, very similar to what Linkages to Learning does here. So there I was, for the first time really working with people who were deeply impacted by war and by political violence. And it really struck me how much their personal lives were impacted. And maybe that's kind of like a naive thing to say, but seeing how the parent-child relationship was really strained by all the trauma symptoms that parents and children both had, seeing how their education was really hurt by the fact that that their social and emotional issues were showing up in the classroom, and then there's a punitive model of behavior management. And so seeing that the community couldn't be its best self with each other, and that's a big wound of war. And so I got very interested in what do we do now for these people who are living through this? How do we heal when we haven't solved the political problems? And we've got injustice and political violence all over the planet, and we've got it here. And we have the Linkages program serves anybody who's within a certain income threshold, but in our area that includes a lot of people who are fleeing political violence from Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala. And we get to help them reunify as a family. We get to help them start a life in a safer place and figure out how to build the life that they want to have, and not be so impacted by the trauma that they've been through.
Well, I like gardening.
Mm-hmm. I feel like maybe the story of Kate and Karen written over time is like Karen hated everything Kate liked when Karen was younger, and now I'm becoming my mother. Very concerning. But yeah, I'm very excited to receive the seedlings that my mother has started in a month.
Yeah.
And put them in my garden, because I started a garden just like my parents had when I was growing up, that I hated weeding.
Yeah.
Yeah.